There's never been a better time to have SiriusXM. With even more exclusive content, with over 150 channels in your vehicle, including the widest, deepest variety of music, ad-free. Root for your team. Get news. Listen to whatever makes you laugh. And hear all about your favorite stars. Your Platinum Plan offer includes more than ever before to enjoy online, on your phone, or at home. Create your own ad-free personalized stations powered by Pandora. Hear ad-free extra channels filled with music and enjoy a favorite shows with SiriusXM Video. Thousands of hours of shows and performances on demand. What you love is on now.
Do you have customers coming in with popular platforms like the latest pickup trucks demanding giant Uber-sized interfaces that these OE manufacturers are providing them at a factory level? Did you know that there is a manufacturer of said aftermarket radios that fit this niche? Well, today it's all about large, giant-sized OE-style factory source units, courtesy of a company called Linkswell. This is CMA Showcase presented by SiriusXM. Linkswell, and it starts now. What's going on, everybody? And thanks for tuning in to another CMA Showcase presented by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. And on every showcase, we want to give you the goods and give you the news and the products to make sure you are successful in the bay and on the showroom floor. And of course, we're bringing to you a brand that wasn't even that many years ago, came onto the scene and introduced a look and feel to a source unit that people found very attractive because it's what the OEs were doing. These high, big, large format screens with interfaces that controlled everything beyond just audio, but also interfaced with your HVAC, all the heating controls and anything else that the OEs wanted to integrate into one interface. Well, a couple years have passed, a couple generations have evolved, and here they are coming fresh out of SEMA with some brand new product, a huge catalog, and we're going to get in deep with it because I think, this is me personally speaking, there are a lot of you dealers out there that might not even be aware of these awesome products, and that's our job to make sure you know about them. So to help me with this today, we're going to reach out to their Canadian distributor, Auto Mobility, and my good friend Michael Berger, who's their Vice President of Sales and Marketing. What's going on, Mike?
Hey, Ben, how are you?
Pretty excited because this is, to a lot of people, including myself. I mean, I didn't hear about these products until very recently, and the buzz was coming off from these shows in the States like K-Fest and whatnot, and more recently in SEMA. It's a very unique product. It's our job to let Canadian dealers know about it. Why do you think that this is such a unique solution to what many dealers may not even be aware that a solution exists for?
Well, I guess, Tesla was really the first OE car manufacturer to come out with the uber big screens, big there, 12 inches. And, as more Teslas hit the road, people liked their current vehicles, but they wanted a larger screen. So, unfortunately in my car, I can't put a Linkswell in my car. I'm stuck with the 8-inch, which seems like ridiculously small these days when you see these 12, 13, 14-inch screens that are coming in cars now. And in some cases, even larger. Some of the new OEs, they go right across the dash almost. So, the trend is for a larger screen, for more information on the screen, and that's what customers are looking for and actually demanding now.
Yeah, I think
the 7 and 8 inch now are like, the bare minimum that even a customer will, accept these days.
I totally agree with you, Mike. I think you pinpointed it there with Tesla kind of setting the trend in this type of category with that look and feel. But man, I can't help but think like a lot of these new Dodge Rams and all these other pickup trucks, which obviously are very popular platforms here in Canada, they're coming with them too. And I think it's starting to set, it's raising the bar on what the customer is expecting as a minimum. Like you're saying, the 4, 5, 6, 7-inch screen, it's kind of reserved for the entry level vehicles at this point. and all the higher end vehicles seem to be definitely upping the ante when it comes to screenage. Now you had the chance, Mike. You went down to SEMA in Vegas very recently. I know you had the chance to visit the Linkswell booth. What were some of your impressions to finally, get to touch, feel, and play and interact with the guys there?
Well, yeah, due to COVID, and unless I'm in a shop which has ordered in a Linkswell screen, I didn't really have the opportunity to, play around with the units. So first of all, when I went to SEMA, their booth was like, really made a statement. It was like, whoa, wow, these guys, have come a long way since they first started, and their booth was, it was packed. Like I had to come back a couple of times to speak to Walt because he was always busy. So, which is a great sign because it just goes to show you that people are really looking to upgrade their screens.
All right. Well, I'm excited to hear. According to our guest, there's some big news that they've kind of saved on. We had a chance to catch up with them a couple weeks back. They couldn't announce the news then, but apparently we're going to find out more about this news. So let's go ahead and connect with the boys from Linkswell. They're based out of California. We have two guests coming on today. The first is a Walter Detlefsen, who is their national sales manager, joined by Jonathan Detlefsen. I would assume there's a relationship there. Who is their technical support manager? What's going on, gentlemen?
Morning, Ben. Morning, Mike. How are you guys?
Very, very, very well. Thank you for joining us. I know it's early over there in California. Mike said it. You guys were bumping at SEMA. I heard the same kind of rapport. How was SEMA for you, Walter? It seems like you were a popular dude there, man.
SEMA was great. I mean, we had a great booth layout this year. We did get surprised by our factory with a new unit for the F-150, so we scrambled for a vehicle for our booth. It was okay. I mean, but we try to build a vehicle up, which But anyways, but it was good. We were able to show some of the new products and stuff like that, and today we're still signing up dealers from the SEMA show. That it's been great. It's we're now, this was our fifth year, Jonathan, or sixth? Fifth year,
I think it's fifth.
Fifth year. Yeah, it was our fifth year at SEMA, and we started out in a little 10 by 10, and then we went to a 10 by 20, and this year we were in a crammed into a 20 by 30. So
crammed into a 20 by 30. Yes, sir. 600 square, 6 times the size from the original booth.
We've gotten more and more products and that, and it just we're excited. We're excited.
Jonathan, if I could ask you a question or two, like what was your takeaways from some of the reactions from new customers or existing customers when they came to your booth and they asked you to kind of walk them through what they're looking at?
So we have two people that run into our booth. We have guys that have been working with us and they're looking for that, what's new. The best part is when like the booth is kind of quiet and you're just sitting there and like somebody's walking by your booth and they do this whole like, and then they like tap their friend and then they have to like walk over to the thing and start touching it and playing with it. And you just kind of give them a few minutes to like get their bearings and understand what they're looking at. And it's a lot of fun to see the reaction, right? Like I've been in this industry a while. We've talked about this last show too. There was been such a gap of development from like, we went from like little screens to flip outs and those were the big deal. And then we went to the double din and we just kind of stayed there. Like we stayed at this idea of a double din radio for so long that I think the market has just been like vying for something new, and we've just been lucky enough to do that.
Well, I think luck is maybe a little bit of it, but I understand there's quite a bit of R&D and a big team that these are not. I mean, every single one of your outfits is a unique shape, function, form. I mean, it's not like a universal fit, which. Yeah, that takes a lot of engineering and research and resources for sure. Now, you hinted actually at some news that wasn't quite ready to announce last time. You said, Ben, hopefully we can come back from SEMA and we can share the news on CMA. Walter, are we ready to spread the word on what we want to say today? So why don't we do this? Go. You want to preface this? Go ahead.
Well, this is a big thing for the Canadian market. I mean, it's big here. Don't get me wrong, here in the U.S., but I know that this has been a major stumbling block for us. So Yes, let's roll the tape and we can talk about it afterwards.
Here we go. Let's roll the tape. Boom! There it is, everybody. Linkswell is now Sirius XM ready. You know that means it means a lot to a lot of people. It means that for like I always said this, when a company, a brand, a product gets that stamp of Sirius XM, it means you've gone to a certain point where you're making a product that meets the the standards that Sirius XM is looking for. From what I understand, it's not the easiest level to attain for many manufacturers, and there's only a very small handful of manufacturers that can claim that. But more so, I mean, you literally, if you check out that last video we did, it has every feature, and that was the only one that was kind of blatantly in your face missing. And now, so what does that mean? That means that this connects, these new units will be able to connect to SXV 300 Sirius XM units. Is that what that means, Walter?
Yeah, that's what we'll be doing going forward. We'll be changing the model numbers that'll come out will be a 5S, which will be our Gen 5. The S obviously will stand for Sirius. One other thing that we're going to be adding, and not to get off topic here, but a few years ago we had a Model A which had HDMI in and out. Well, due to these chip shortages that everybody's been dealing with, we were left with an option of no radios or radios with just HDMI out. And so obviously that's what we elected to do. But that being said, we challenged our factory to somehow create the HDMI in back again. And they did finally. So we were rolling out a 5H, which would have the option. We have an optional HDMI in module that you have to purchase, but that will the 5S will have that along with the XM ready.
Amazing.
So I mean, all of our units currently you can download the app and but from my understanding works great here because cell service is everywhere here, but in Canada it's not as
you nailed that on the head, Walter. Sirius XM is a great service and source of entertainment and music everywhere, but especially for customers that are out there in more rural areas, for example, like the prairies, like we discussed, where FM regular radio is just non-existent. It's hard to get, or it's in and out. But Sirius XM, no matter where you are, you get that antenna, you get that service, and this is why it's such of great value. So congratulations, first and foremost. I know that was a long time coming. Wasn't a call to Sirius and hey, can we, that there was a process behind this for sure.
Yeah, but part of the challenge was because of our big screen, the album cover,
right,
which is like this size on everybody else's screen is like this. And so, they were really picky about how it laid out, how it looked. And I get it. I mean, you're paying for this service. It's not a free service. So anyway, but it was a long drawn out process, but I think it's going to be very, very well received across the board.
Jonathan, tell me that you'll be able to give us a sneak peek on the interface, look and feel of how that would look today. Yes. Okay. I can tell by your smile. Okay.
We're going to have to charge you for that though, Ben.
That's all right. Send me the bill, my ongoing tab. All right. So, Jonathan, why don't you give us a breakdown? What are we going to be covering today in our presentation?
So we just figured, once again, folks don't know who we are, so we'll just do a quick overview, some of the stuff that's coming out, the new stuff. We'll hint to some things in case we've got anybody that's watching that's coming out to Knowledge Fest in Vegas here coming up in February. We'll kind of hint you up some new stuff that you might want to come check out so you see us. Just kind of overview, and then I think I've got a few products in hand that I can kind of put on camera so you guys can kind of get a look for them. And then, I'll show you the interface. And then you you asked me to accomplish something last video that we met, that you wanted to see Street Fighter happening
Yes,
on
because I heard
the
through the grapevine there might have been a little Street Fighter action in the Linkswell booth at SEMO. Am I right?
No,
there was quite a bit, yes.
and we're planning. We're looking at possibly doing a contest at
Oh,
Molly's
see,
booth
now
in
we're
May.
talking, Walter. Now you're thinking like how you should be thinking. I like that. All right, Mike, anything to add before we let these boys kind of rip it up on the screen and walk us through the whole offering?
No, listen, the Sirius XM news is exciting. You know, when Walt first told me about it, you know, many months ago, I kept asking him, so now,
Yeah.
and now it's finally here. So
Double thumbs up on
great
that.
news. It's great news.
All right, boys, Mr. Detlefsen and Mr. Detlefsen, we're going to set you up on your presentation. Mike and I'll go away. You give us a heads up when we're done, and we'll continue maybe getting some interactive demos going on. Here we go.
All right. All right.
Sounds good.
So basically what we're going to just do a quick run through of some of our products that we have available. Obviously, our push is the T-style radios. As Ben mentioned, you know, these are rather unique radios. They're not designed for every car. You know, a lot of times we're limited to the dash. We're also limited to the climate control system that's in the vehicle. We produced a unit that was supposed to fit the 09 to 14 F-150, and the bezel works, but unfortunately, in that span of years, Ford used 4 or 5 different climate control systems. And because our units not only control the radio, but also the climate control, obviously it was a challenge for us, and we were only to make 13 and 14. So we look at that when we are developing our products. We also do all of our product development and testing here in the U.S. Unlike some of our competitors that are out there, the cars here are different than the ones there are in Europe and in China and that. So we make sure that our units will work with the vehicles here. And there are cars that are a challenge, and that's why we don't have one for everything like a lot of the other companies do. But this kind of just gives you a quick shot of some of our units, and then we'll go kind of do some step by step. Go ahead and change it. So this right here kind of shows you our new Gen 5 Ford unit. Again, our unit ties into the climate control, and the climate controls are touchscreen, but we've had a number of customers that have commented that they like the knobs, they like to push buttons in that. So when possible, we are trying to add that back into our units. Now, obviously, not every application allows us to do that. And I will admit the Ford was a challenge, but we were able to incorporate that. But this kind of gives you just, you know, we have factory fit bezels. We go up, well, this is kind of outdated right now. The screen says up to a 12.1 inch screen. We'll talk about that a little bit longer. PX6 processor, 4G memory, our 4G 64 gig memory. All of our units are plug and play, and we have a CAN bus that is designed again for that specific vehicle. We also have steering wheel control retention, factory backup camera, and all of that. When you purchase our unit, unlike buying one of our competitors' unit, pretty much you get everything you need right with our unit. Now, Ford is probably one of the more difficult ones, and hopefully we'll have a chance to talk to you about that because they do have the Bang & Olufsen system. They have 360 camera and that. But ultimately, the majority of the times when you buy our unit, it's designed to fit in that vehicle without any additional accessories. Okay.
Yep. And just some cool things to note too, like Ben was mentioning about just the amount of interfacing and the things that we can do. There's a lot of things us building on Android platform rather than like a standard Linux platform gives just a very wide open opportunity to do a lot of custom work to your radio and kind of tune it the way you want it, giving you access to like the Google Play Store, being able to do a lot of things where you can interface with like third-party products, so things like Ring, where you can answer your doorbell and stuff like that. So there's a lot of external or extra things that you can do with our units that you're not going to do with any other standard radio, apart from even all of the work we do to interface with those factory parts. So as Walt mentioned about the Ford with the Bang & Olufsen and the 360 cameras, we do a lot of work to make sure that we can retain as many of those high-end features that you get on your higher-end trucks and whatnot, and give you what you would want in an aftermarket radio with high volt pre-outs and a Toslink out, and now the Android side where you can do a bunch of stuff. So there is quite a bit to the radios, even outside the massive size of the screen. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, all those great things too. So and our Gen 5 is it's a good unit. It's running smooth. But we got other stuff we're coming out with too.
This is our new Light series. We've been challenged with the unit. Our units here in the U.S. sell for around $1,500 in that, and they're not complex. I mean, but they're for the techie guy that likes to put the different games on it, apps, and all of that other fun stuff. But then there's guys like me that has a Ford pickup truck that has a little 4-inch screen in it, and not too keen on all the techie stuff, but my eyesight's getting bad and I want that larger screen. So we're going to be working on a new, what we call our Light series. Now, these will have the same bezel designs as our Gen 5 in that. They'll have the same screen design in that, but they'll have some of the same features. They will have wireless Android Auto, CarPlay, phone link app, and all of that. But these units, you will not be able to, the customer will not be able to download additional apps. What apps are on there, and it's going to have like Netflix and Google Store, or not Google, Google Search and all of that fun stuff. But this is going to be more geared for the guy that uses his phone, that will have the Sirius app on his phone or navigation on his phone. And again, it's wireless. It'll go to it, and what is on the phone will display on the screen, and it gives the customer. It's going to retail at a much lower price. But again, this is going to get that guys like me that isn't into all this techie stuff, but does want that larger screen. Now we're going to be introducing it in 4 different models: the Toyota Tundra, the Toyota Tacoma, the Ford F-150. Now, this one will not have the knobs for the climate control and all that. This will be for the guy that doesn't want the knobs. And then also we're looking at also in the Ford Ranger. So we'll see what happens as we roll these things out. Again, this is going to give you the larger screen. It just won't give you all of the features and benefits of a Gen 5, but it again will be for the average customer.
Yeah, and that we've just kind of learned that through the last few years that we really do kind of have a split customer base. We have guys that are all about all of the extra tech and wanting to connect things like OBD devices, wanting to monitor engine stuff and do a whole bunch of extra things, connect to their like local server with movies and music and stuff like that. And then we have the other guy that literally just wants to do CarPlay or Android Auto. And so this is giving us a way to give the guy that's not looking for all the horsepower, a Prius rather than a Mustang GT. That way they can still drive around and do what they want to do, but they don't need all the stuff that they're not going to use. So everything's going to be R&D'd the same quality. So we're going to make sure we're using high-end components, best thing we can do for it. So we're going to make it as sleek and toned down as we can to keep it nice and affordable, but still be reliable and good experience for each user. So we're just finding that we had to add that split in customers, and we just, hey, there's guys looking for just the phone CarPlay. Let's see what we can do. And so this is what our factory came out with, and I'm pretty excited. It's a nice little UI change and simple to use. And I think it's gonna do well when it gets out there. So,
all right.
What else do we got?
Okay, so this is our IQ line. Our what had happened was when we first started introducing our products again at SEMA, we got hit by the guys in the hot rod industries. Hey, this is great, but like Mike was saying, he's got a car that the big screen won't fit into. Well, but they still want all the features and the benefits. They want to be able to download the apps and all that. So we developed the IQ line, and we have a variety of different kits for the imports, like the Honda, Nissan, Toyotas, and that. And we also, in our 10-inch screen, we also developed a new universal double DIN kit. More and more cars are coming out with this new floating screen look, where the screen is sitting out a little bit further in that. And people are getting used to that. I mean, I struggle with it, but people are starting to get used to that. And so that's what, this product was designed to give the customer an OE look at an aftermarket price. And, again, we have a variety of different applications. And again, it has all the fun stuff where you can do Netflix, Spotify, all of that, and Sirius app. But it's also got the nice OE look to it.
Yeah, it's a radio only, right? We're not taking over climate controls,
Nope.
which kind of gives us the opportunity to make a few more faster. And then it is also a little bit easier on the shop to stock them. So you can see we've got a 301K, we've got a 301, and then we have a 401R. All three of those radios look a little different. Like the K's got some knobs, the 301's just all touchscreen, and then that 401's like more of a floating screen that rotates. And the idea is you could have 100 different applications when it comes to the kits, and then the kit has a hole that any one of those three would fit into. So you could stock 4 radios and 100 kits and have 100 applications worth of cars that you could put them in. And if you use our kit, it's gonna fit in there nice, so it doesn't look like an aftermarket, doubled in hole like some of these dashes that are coming with like the gloss black. When you put one of these like the 301 and on one of those gloss black kits, you would have to look 3 or 4 times to even realize it was aftermarket, just because of how well it sits in there. It looks like it belongs there. So that whole factory look it's not a lie. It really does look really good in there. Plug and play harnesses. We do all the CAN bus interfacing, so you're not going to have to worry about purchasing third-party interfaces or harnesses or like that if you get one of our kits, and just kind of making the install as easy as possible. Steering wheel controls, backup camera retention, stuff like that. A lot of the things that we're able to do on the T-Style line, we're able to do even in this IQ line. And it just kind of gives you an opportunity to offer something different than your normal doubled-in radio. Just looks, feel, and of course, again, all of the Android stuff, all the cool things that you can do on the Android side. We could probably beat that dead horse for a while because does really make things, it makes the experience very different when, like your phone is always your phone. Like nobody's iPhone is identical because you've got your different apps and your different backgrounds and stuff. And so our radios give you a lot of that personability about it. And with these ones here, a little bit easier on the production side, a little bit easier on your stocking side for our dealers that are going to stock them, and giving you like a wider variety of applications. So, and it's a quick radio, smooth radio, genuinely one of my favorites that we have actually. So, but we also have some universal stuff, not more universal. There's our kit. Sorry, I should have flipped that slide earlier. There's the kit, guys. Yeah, that's what happens when I don't see it. Anyway, so you can see the kit. Yeah, you can see the kit. You can see how the 3 footprints fit in there, the harness and whatnot's right there. Just as I mentioned, I actually made a slide because I was ahead of the game and I forgot. But we do have universal stuff, and there it is.
These are our double DINs, and we have a 10.1 inch and a 13.3. These are double DIN. They're universal mount, and they are motorized screens. So you can, you're watching a movie, you're going to want to have it horizontal. You're doing your navigation, you put it up vertical. These are designed to work with, the Scosche kits, the metric kits, and all of that. The only thing you have to watch out for is obviously any obstruction in the dash. We did a Sienna van, and the knobs were down below the radio, and they would slightly touch it. So we had to tilt it up just a little bit, but we got it to work. But you just got to watch out for that. But these, have all the fun features of, again, you can do Netflix, you can do Spotify, all that, the Sirius app, and it's a universal mount. So again, you can stock these without any issues.
Yeah, exactly. So all basic. This is 100% on you and your installer figuring out if it'll fit and how to wire it. We're just going to give you an open-ended harness, just like any other universal radio would, with your standard RCA pre-outs. These do have Toslink out, so if you are doing like a high-end DSP, we do have Toslink out on the double DINs and the IQs. But the chassis is going to be just the standard industry double DIN hole. The face that goes through the dash kits, we did extend. It's about 3 times bigger or deeper than a standard double DIN was, just so that you can get a little bit of play to go in and out. Like, we didn't want to make it too big that it was outrageous, but we did want to give you guys, you installers, a little bit of room to kind of be able to play with it if you need to tilt it and stuff like that. And it is pretty nuts to see a 13-inch screen kind of floating in the dash. Nobody I know that has seen one of those in a car has not been like staring at it and just blown away at the fact that, like, we put one in Walt's little Scion XB, and it I think it like lowered the front end a little bit as this big screen was sitting in the dash. But it is quite an impressive thing to see floating in the dash. And again, all the cool Android things. The motorized is always fun to watch people's jaws drop a little bit when you tap the button and it spins. CarPlay's on there, of course. Android Auto. It's all wireless. So you can get all those cool and awesome things with the universal platform as well. But we're also kicking into products outside of radios. So should I take on the amps?
You better. I can't.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So we've got 3 offerings when it comes to amplifiers right now. There are a couple others that we're toying around with, maybe possibly getting into, but these 3 are a little special, all for different reasons. One reason all 3 of them is special is they all have built-in DSPs, and they're all app controlled. So you can go into the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store, download either the DSP or the DSP-10, depending on which amp you get. So we'll have a 4-channel and a 5-channel that's going to run using the normal DSP app. And then our big one is a 10-channel, which will run the Linkswell DSP-10 app. And all of these amps, like I said, with the app, you're going to be able to do individual EQs per channel. You can bridge the EQs, high and low pass crossovers, time alignment, phase control, gain control. On the 10-inch, you're going to get things like routing, so you'll be able to say what you want in and out. And then for the little guys, the 4 and the 5 channel, just understand these are not powerhouse amps. The 4 and 5 channel, these are designed for the guy that is just wanting to get a cleaner sound out of his system. We've got a lot of T-harnesses, so if you happen to be putting in one of our Gen 5 radios in like a Ford or a GM or a Toyota or a Dodge or a Jeep, one of those vehicles that doesn't have the factory premium sound, we actually have a T-harness that you can plug in right behind the radio that's going to plug in from the factory side and then have a male side, and it's going to drop down and plug straight into our amplifier, which actually would work even if you weren't putting our radio in, because that's going to be your high level in and then your outputs back to your speaker. So even if you had a guy coming into your shop that just wanted a little bit more out of his F-150, you could take this amp, T-harness behind his factory radio, mount it underneath the back seat, and his audio, like, when I say it is an upgrade, I don't say that lightly. I have kind of a high expectation when it comes to what an amplifier can sound like. And when we first started doing our testing on this, I was literally blown away. And then every show we've shown these at since, when we have a way to compare A and B, so stock radio, hit the button, and now the amplifier's playing, nobody's face has ever not had just genuine blown away that this little amplifier running from a factory radio could do could sound so good. So they really, really are some good amplifiers. So we have a 5-channel, so you could amp your interior speakers, add a little subwoofer. We have a 4-channel, where if you don't want a sub or you want a big sub, because our sub output's going to be right about 200 watts, so you're not going to push a huge woofer with our 5-channel. But if you wanted to run a couple, that 4-channel actually has an RCA output that you'll actually be able to control and manipulate with the DSP. So you can use the DSP in the 4-channel to control that sub output and then send that to a bigger amplifier so that your amplifier or your sub amp is actually getting a really high end quality. And then we've got that big massive 10-channel. That thing's 100 watts by 10. Channels 9 and 10 can bridge, and 7 and 8 can bridge, so you can knock it down to 8 channels. Again, all routing and everything done through the app. They are really good sounding amplifiers at a really, really, really good price. I think our 10 channels retailing at right around $1,000, which you could build a very high end sound system with just this one amplifier. Tune that DSP and it would sound really, really good. So this is a new product that I'm excited about because I like loud music and I like my loud music to sound good. And yeah, exactly. So I've been super excited about these. I don't know if you want to add anything to that, Walt.
Again, this is for the guy. This is for the guy that just wants a little bit more, and it's an easy install. You don't have to go crazy or anything like that. Obviously, unless you go with the 10-channel, but the 4 and 5, it makes it very simple install. And again, it's amazing what the sound quality is from these little amps. It's incredible. It's night and day. So
yeah, genuinely night and day. Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Well, I believe that is what we have. Yep. There we go. We have accomplished our goal. We are on all those social medias if you want to give us a follow. I did do an install on one of those those 5-channel amps on YouTube. You can see that video if you want to kind of check that out. But hey, Ben, if you want to come back in and we can chat since I'm out of slides.
Or we can do a song and dance for you guys or something.
Yeah, we can do all of that. Absolutely.
I think they would blow up.
We'll do like a magic show.
Where'd they go?
Yeah, we'll do a magic show. I don't know. They're on vacation already, super early. Well, if you are following this, give us a follow at Linkswell Link on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. There he is.
I'm here. You just had to call. I was right here.
Oh, we did. We called you an hour.
We did.
All right. So here we go. Man, I wish we had more time. This is one of those products that we could dig in so deep. You know what I mean? By each category. We didn't really even get a chance to show all the different renditions or application-specific molds and everything else. But I mean, I do implore you, we're going to show you the website, but go to the website. They have pictures of every application. There's too many to talk about on one show. Of course, I'm speaking specifically to the Generation 5, right? T-style radios, right? Of course, with the new IQ radios as well as the double DIN radios, that's a whole other conversation. But I mean, really, to appreciate the work, the craftsmanship, you need to see what this whole thing looks like and how it looks like into a vehicle. And I think Michael had a chance to see that at the show in the booth. I haven't had the chance to see that yet, but I can tell by the images, the fit and finish. So you promised, Jonathan, that we might get some demo. You might have some product lying around. Why don't we jump into that first before we get into questions?
For sure. So we mentioned the IQ and just the kits. And so I wanted to kind of put a kit in my hand. So that would be that's a Corolla kit. So you can see the hole will take either one of the IQ platforms. So this just happens to be our 301. And then I'll stick this in there. And you can see when it's in, it's kind of hard to tell that it's aftermarket. So if you looked into the dash of this Corolla, you would just assume it was a factory radio. You wouldn't assume that it had all the cool features that our radios have.
Jonathan, one thing I didn't mention last time that it took me some time to kind of wrap my head around it because I was kind of just like digesting everything, is also the theft deterrence of these systems. The reason I say that is, it doesn't look aftermarket, so it doesn't look like I can just get in there, grab it, and go. It looks like it was built as part of the vehicle, which automatically puts it to another level of difficulty from a thief's perspective. Right. It's something that came to me afterwards, and you just nailed it there when you showed the pieces together, where you said you can't tell the difference. In the Corolla, for example, you can't. It looks like unless you're a car aficionado that, you know, regularly, you know, does reports on new vehicles, there's no way the average person would know that that is not the factory system.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, you know, that is a good point. And then I just wanted to put in my hands the double din. So that's our double din, and this is the 13-inch. Let me put it next to my head so you can just kind of get a good picture of how big this actually is.
Just so everybody knows,
to grab this.
Jonathan has a larger than average head.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
So this would be a 10-inch screen, and then this is our 13. So you can kind of get a feel for. I can't even get both of them on. I
want to make fun of Linkswell and say how ridiculously over the top and absurd this is, but I can't. Because there are factory vehicles that have screens this size at this point. And,
yep,
you know.
Yep. I just dropped my kit. Yeah, and then the last thing I have in my hand are just our amps. So there's the little guy I told you when I said the little 4-channel and 5-channel are small. They really are small. So this would be the same footprint for the 4 and 5. There's the plug I was talking about. This is your in and outs for your high level. These RCAs here are actually outs. They're not ins, because this is not designed to, this is more designed for the factory interfacing kind of thing. But it does have Toslink input, which is what we would use with our Generation 5. And then just your simple power and ground. And like, it'd be really, really hard not to find a place to mount this somewhere in a vehicle, because it is super small. But then I do have our big boy here as well. So this is our big 10-channel. Same style, but this one here, you're actually going to end up with RCA inputs. So you've got 8 inputs, and then you'll have 2 outputs, and then you've got all of your speaker outputs here, power, ground. Same thing, you got the Toslink input, but this guy's a little bit bigger than this guy.
A little bit.
So
a little bit bigger.
Yeah, just a smidgen. But yeah, those are
let's
the
be mindful of the
amplifiers.
fact. Sorry, Jonathan. Can you bring that big amp back up for a second? Let's be mindful of the fact of what this thing can do. This is a one-piece, all-in-one platform solution. Everything you need is in that chassis. 10 channels worth.
Yeah. So originally, our Jeep we built. We did active crossovers for the up front, so that took up 4 channels. And then the back speakers, we just did use the passive crossovers, and so that was 2 channels. And then we took 7 and 8 and 9 and 10, and we bridged them to 2 10s. So each 10 had its own channel. So our 10 channel ran the whole system in our Jeep, and it actually sounded really, really good. And people would get in our Jeep, and we actually kept the factory speakers in it. We didn't even swap the speakers. We just did everything factory. And most people didn't believe us, like just by how well it sounded. We have since decided to go big, since we're working on a couple power power amplifiers for some woofers. So we've since stepped into putting 8 speakers in the sound bar and 3 ways up front. And so if you are in Dallas for Knowledge Fest, be sure to cruise by, because the Jeep should be there and should be rocking, as well as the big Mamba Gen 6 we are working on in a Ford. I'm just gonna tell you, it's like nothing you've seen when it comes to an aftermarket radio. So I don't know if Walt wants to give you any
I don't know,
more
but I heard
tidbits on
Big
that,
Mamba. That's what I took away from that.
We just picked up a 2018 F-150 that we're going to be building out, and we'll have it in our booth at Knowledge Fest Vegas. And we're going to have one of these units in there. And we don't know how far long we're going to get with the
Wait,
build.
sorry. Did you say Knowledge Fest Vegas? So we're talking February. Okay.
February.
Okay.
Yep. I know Jonathan said Dallas, but we'll also be in Vegas.
Well, I'll be at that one, so I might have to hit you up for a little demo or do a little conversation there with that one. I'll hold you to it.
You can join the Street Fighter contest.
Oh, you better believe it. I'm putting my quarter down. You know. Okay. I have to say this. I wrote this down, and I wasn't sure if I was gonna bring it up, but like at a certain point, are we at the point, like I'm going into the future here? You know, Linkswell, Gen 15. Okay. Are you just going to do full dash replacements? Just
We
take out the
actually-
entire dash, put in the new dash, and the entire dash is screenage.
we are looking down the line at doing stuff like that. We are also getting into solar powered generators and solar powered batteries and stuff like that for the RV industry. That we're seeing a lot in these overland shows and stuff like that. We actually had our Jeep. SEMA had an overland exhibition in the West Hall, and we had our Jeep over there. We've put a tent on it and an awning and all of this stuff, and we'll have it at Knowledge Fest also.
This might be reserved for another show, but the potential of a command center type unit from Linkswell in an RV situation, or anything of that nature that controls beyond audio, right?
Yeah.
A full system integration, one interface, whether it's electrical systems or security systems,
lights,
or whatever.
all of that stuff.
The Android platform is endless opportunity.
Well, like Jonathan alluded to, we not only sell to the mobile electronics stores, the traditional ones, but we also sell to a lot of performance shops. There's companies out there like EasyLink that makes these devices that allows you to change the performance of your engine and all that. And ideally, these systems are designed to where you download an app to your phone. Well, it's cool, but how much cooler is it when you can do this on the radio?
10 times cooler, no doubt.
You can see these gauges and everything on your dash, not on this little screen. And again, so we do a lot. We probably about 30% of our dealers are performance shops, not your traditional mobile electronics store.
All right. I'm going to hold you to it, Jonathan. Big announcement on SiriusXM. Any chance we can get a demo of what that could look like? Oh, there. You know what? This is why we have you on, sir.
There you go.
Okay. Go back.
SiriusXM.
So just so we could follow you from the beginning there. So that is the home page.
So I'm gonna. Yeah, this is one of our home pages. We got a couple different UI looks with this one, and then you got SiriusXM. Open it up, and it's gonna pop open, just like it would probably on just about anything else. Yeah,
that is the biggest SiriusXM display I've ever seen.
Yeah, it would be, because it's at least it's at least 10 by 10. I'd say it's pretty good size.
But you have all your
so we could do all the presets and set up your alerts so that it calls you when your favorite songs are playing.
Look at that.
Go to your categories. Oh, it's gonna. There we go. Oops.
Oh, list view. That's nice too.
Yep.
And for those that already have a Gen 5 unit, is this available? Like, can they go and just go ahead and hook up an SXV 300 at this point right now?
No, not right now. It won't work.
Okay.
That's what we had hoped for.
So what is the next steps in this? What are we waiting for?
Again, we'll be introducing a new line, which will be a 5S.
Okay, the 5S. Gotcha.
We'll have the features and benefits of the SiriusXM, allowing them to add that unit and all that.
All right. Thank you, Jonathan, for the quick demo. I've got 2-3 questions, and then I can let you guys go. And I thought about these questions going into the show after the last show. I should have asked them, so here's my opportunity. I'm going to go for it. From a difficulty level, I'll go to Jonathan with this one. For a difficulty level, I'm speaking on behalf of a dealer now, okay? I've been installing radios for 20 years. I get it. What are you doing to me? This is distraction. I can't ask you a proper question if you put that on. So yes, it's cool. You can play Street Fighter 2 on your source unit. I get it. Everybody gets it. Yes. Okay. On a serious note, what should installers expect from a difficulty level when preparing to install one of your all-inclusive application-specific units?
As far as the difficulty, it's not hard. If you're an installer, the physical installs, it's plug and play. It's pulling apart the dash. Like, if you can pull apart the dash and match plugs, the install is going to be super easy. The only thing it's going to be different, there's a different thought pattern, is when you're done, you have to tell the radio what kind of car you had. Like, did I have this option? Did I have this option? So the CAN bus is going to be a little different. If I've got the automatic climate or I have the manual climate, the CAN bus commands are different in that. And so if you don't tell the radio what it's supposed to be, then it may be sending the wrong signal. So you just have to, when you're done, go through. We've got tutorials, we've got videos, we've got text sheets that'll tell you each step to do. You just have to make sure that you go through there and set all that up. And then once it's all set up, it should be good to go. But yeah, the install itself, like, physically is easy.
Really, that's no different than, like, for example, getting a Maestro integration piece, programming it to the vehicle that you're putting it into. And I mean, it's the same type of procedure. It's just not a third unit piece. You include it into your kit. Right?
We highly recommend, when we have a new dealer, number one, they don't install this on a weekend because we're not here to help them. But once they get the unit in there, see, unfortunately, they can't call us up and say, hey, I got an F-150. It's got the 360 camera. It's got heated seat, heated steering wheel, massage seats. We can't program all of that stuff onto our unit until it actually sees it. So it has to be in the vehicle. But once it's in the vehicle and they can go in, it's not rocket science. It's not brain surgery. It's just a new level.
New method. It's a new method.
A new method. There you go. Okay. And once the installers have done a couple of these and they see how it works, we never hear from them again. It's just those first few installs that they because it's new, it's different.
So let's say I've gone past the first few, right? I'm kind of getting into the motion of the ocean here, as they say. What should I expect to charge customers? Is it an elevated charge up front? How does that work?
You charge what you're comfortable with. Our average dealer charges at least 2 hours labor
that's what I was after, to get a ballpark.
They're looking about 2 hours labor. And again, depending on the vehicle, the features, the benefits, and all that, again, Ford being the more difficult ones with the B&O, the 360, and all that. But it's once the installers have done a few of them, they're comfortable with them. It's an easy install.
Okay, really, so I own a shop, Walt. I'm interested. Your product looks awesome. What should I expect, or what is required of my installers from a training perspective to get them properly set up to do, your product into customers' vehicles?
There really isn't a training, because again, you need to get into the vehicle in that. But it would be better if they can, once they've installed the unit, they contact our tech support. Let our tech support walk through the different even though they're not going to make all these settings on this specific install, they can learn where to look for it, where to go for it, where to do it, and stuff like that. And again, once they've learned how to do it, it's simple. And Jonathan can do trainings. We can set up a training. He did a training the other day for one of our other customers, where they went through our amps and stuff like that. When COVID hit, and we didn't invest money into the trade shows, because trust me, when we go to these shows, they're not cheap. We ended up investing a lot of money into our cameras and stuff like that. And so we've got these sling devices and all of it. Jonathan knows more about it. But again, we can go through a training online. It's and it's like being there. Okay. We actually, when COVID hit and we did the first Knowledge Fest, we actually set up 2 installs. We did an install in a Jeep. We did an install in a Dodge Ram. Unfortunately, hardly anybody signed on. But, when we go to the Knowledge Fest and all of that, they have these training classes. Well, ours doesn't work unless we're actually installing a unit. And when you try to install a unit in a vehicle, you're going to get 4 or 5 guys, maybe. So the online stuff worked perfect for us, because we had all these cameras set up and we could have had 100 people on there.
So
We
I
didn't,
would say there's probably two
unfortunately.
types of training based on what I've absorbed here. There's the install training, the actual physical install, but I think
Right.
there's value also to do the software training as to how to
Well,
use it, how to optimize, how to set up menus and preferences and all that stuff. Because
right.
what we like to do as dealers is once you have the customer next to you, he's happy to see the units installed in his vehicle. That next 30, 40 minutes of you showing them and
How it works.
personalizing everything, that's what puts the cherry on top of the whole experience. So
Exactly.
when they leave, they have a system that's tuned for them, right? And then,
And they've got, you can do so much with our unit.
exactly,
You
way more than
you had mentioned earlier about the factory having the larger screens and all that. They do, but they can't do half of what our.
exactly. It's just the size. There's nothing under it.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Michael, unless you had anything else for Walter and Jonathan, I'd like to let these fine gentlemen go so you and I can kind of shut her down.
Yeah, no, it's looking forward to the future with Linkswell. That's for sure. And when I see how fast the UI is on the Sirius XM, it's faster than my factory system. So it's like, when I want to switch stations, it's like, wow, that's really fast on the Linkswell piece, which is great to see, because when customers get a screen that size, they're also looking for the size of the screen.
100%.
Exactly.
Yeah, 100%. On that note, Walter, Jonathan, thank you so much for coming in. Congratulations on the new news of Sirius XM compatibility, on
Thank
the
you,
new
Ben.
T-Horn, the T-style radios, the IQ radios, the double DIN radios, and for everything else, I'm going to put them the link so they can go check it out. And we look forward to connecting with you again, probably in the new year.
You got it.
Take
Thank
care,
you, Ben.
gentlemen.
Thank you, Michael. Take care.
Thank you.
So before we go too far, let's go ahead and put up some graphics here. I promised them a website. Let's put them on the website. If you want more information on Linkswell products, linkswellinc.com. Go in and check out all the photos on the details of some of these bezels and the custom application radios. I mean, it really does look factory. It's quite impressive. And if you're a dealer in Canada and you like what you see here today, get a hold of Automobility, automob.ca, distributor for Linkswell here in Canada. Mike, it's source units, but yet it's kind of like a new category within source units, not traditional source units. So what message do you have for dealers that are seeing this? Either they're wowed and very curious, or they're overwhelmed. It's one of the two.
Yeah, I think I think most retailers, when I go and visit them, they're getting the same feedback that I saw at SEMA, where the customers are looking like 7-8 inch now is like almost too small, and they're looking for the larger T-style radios, and Linkswell has many different options to fulfill, depending on what kind of car they have. But they keep adding more cars. They've added the Jeeps now. I was joking with you earlier. People even with Ford Focuses are putting in the larger radios. Ford Focuses are all of a sudden turning up, and they're all getting Linkswell radios in them, which
I hate to tell you, they even have a Honda Civic solution, which takes up the entire center dash, and it looks absolutely crazy. Just to give you an idea.
So, like I said, I can't put anything in my car, but I wish I could, because I have an 8-inch, and I'd like to have a much larger screen. But maybe the next car.
Well, it's either the next car or Linkswell comes up with one for the car you have. We'll see what happens first.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
Thanks so much for coming in, Mike. Thanks for bringing this to Canada.
Thanks.
This is awesome news, and really looking forward to seeing where this relationship goes. We'll talk to you about it soon.
Okay. Thanks, Ben. Have a great
Take care, Michael. All right. Awesome. So big shout out to the Detlefsens over at Linkswell for joining us today. This is the last time I'm about to say what I'm about to say. This is your last chance to sign up for our MasterTech Expo giveaway contest. Literally, all the ballots got to be in by tonight, midnight. Head over to cmaNetworks.com/giveaway. Sign up. We're giving away 2 packages, one for an American, one for a Canadian citizen. And we are drawing these 2 winners tomorrow night on our roundtable episode, our final broadcast of the year at 8 p.m. Eastern. While you're on our website, I encourage you, take a look at all the great videos that we have, especially done with Automobility. Certain huge supporters of ours here. Check out the Automobility playlist on cmaNetworks.com. It's where the 12-volt industry connects. That's it for this CMA Showcase. We got one more broadcast to close out our season tomorrow. Tune in tomorrow at noon for our special year-end wrap-up with Sirius XM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. Until next time, we connect.
I mean, yeah, let's talk about
Stop
today.
it.
Today we're gonna go
Yo,
topics.
roll it down.
I am.
You don't need a car to listen to Sirius XM. You can listen anywhere. You know that, right?
What? Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio.
Kevin, you could use your phone.
What? What?
Alexa, play Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio on Sirius XM.
What?
This is how I know you're getting old. I guess that was it.
What?